The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
We got one here. Welcome back to another episode of Cashing Out. I'm your host, Billy Alvaro, co-host Wayne Hartzart. We are Easy Sell Property Solutions. We're located right over here in Holbrook, New York. You can find us online at easysell411.com, by phone 631-400-EASY. Cuz, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing phenomenal, Cuz. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You just got back from a trip with your father and uncle and your cousin. You went upstate, a little motorcycle action?
I did. We do a little family gathering. It's become like a tradition now. We go up for...
How many years has it been now?
Well, I've been going there with my dad since probably I was 18.
Americade?
Yeah, but now we brought my uncle and my cousin involved, so it's a pretty cool thing.
I love it.
Last remaining couple of Hartards laying around here, and we go out and we cruise on the bikes. Americade Bike Week up in Lake George. Very good.
Cruising the bikes without the old ladies.
Yeah,
little male bonding experience.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
Everybody
fun.
needs that.
Yeah, we had fun, man. It's fun. It's just nice roads up there. You don't feel like you're on... I mean, it's not...
You're in the
It's
mountains.
not Long Island. It's just nice. You can actually ride. I mean, when I lived out west, forget about it. Those roads are out of control.
Yeah.
But then you got to get up there to get some good riding. Long Island's too packed. Too many people around here.
Long Island's crazy. So speak about Long Island. If you have a property you want to sell, give us a call, 631-400-EASY. If you don't know us, I don't know how you don't know us. We're Billy Alvaro, Wayne Hartzart, Easy Sell Property Solutions. We literally been buying properties out here for the last 10 years. We're going through a nice expansion, not rapid, but we're growing nice and steady consistently each and every quarter. Today, what I want to talk about, I want to give value to the people out there who is selling the traditional way, right? Because we're not right. We're not the right fit for every single person out
Not all
there.
the time, though.
You know, we get a lot of phone calls, and sometimes, it's just not the right fit. So what I want to do today is I want to educate the home sellers that are going to be going through the traditional way, which is generally through a realtor, that process, and what are some of the challenges that they may be facing. So I want to outline them, and then we'll break through one by one, right?
Oh, cool.
So the 5 challenges that I've come up with, that they seem to be the 5 that are always deal killers for the home sellers, not when we're buying, but when they're listing through a realtor. Here's the 5 that I came up with. The inspection issues. There's always inspection issues that to go through. We're going to break these down one by one.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the property issues, which is going to be C of O issues, variance issues with the survey, stuff like that. Number 3 is the mortgage issues, appraisal issues, and number 5 is going to be the title issues. So let's break down one by one. So the sellers that are out there that are looking to sell their property, I want them to be fully educated on the whole process of what they're in for. Sometimes these deals go through 1, 2, 3, 100% perfect. There's no hiccups, no issues, which is not the norm. There's always issues with everything.
Always.
So let's break down the first one, inspection issues, right? So if you're selling your property the traditional way, you have a realtor, you have to put the house in the market, you get a couple of open houses, you get an offer. Once that offer comes in, what happens?
You have folks, the buyers are going to do a home inspection on your property, and basically they're going to pay somebody to come in and turn your house upside down. I mean,
they're paid to find problems.
Paid to find problems inside your house, and sometimes they'll exaggerate some of them and make them worse. Or sometimes they'll find a ton of problems that really are issues. They're going to shine light on those. I mean, you're going to get a 115-page report done on your home, and they're going to turn it upside down. And
depending on who that inspector is.
And there's some terminators out there because we use them. When we purchase our properties, we recommend them, so they find everything. I know you're thinking out there, listen, we got these few things that we're hiding mold, we're hiding this, we're hiding crack. They'll find it. They'll find it.
So let's go through some of the deal killers, right, that these inspectors will find, right? So crack foundations. Oh, yeah. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Crack foundations is going to scare a traditional home buyer because they're like, I don't want to be dealing with a cracked foundation, have to jack the house up. It's overwhelming for somebody who's a first-time home buyer or even a second home buyer who's going to live in that property. For us, as investors, it's an everyday ordeal.
It's an everyday thing. We do it.
It's an everyday ordeal.
Yeah, but if we were buying one house every 30, 40 years or one in our whole life, it's a lot when you get a 115-page report about all these things and all these recommendations that need to be done and all these things that actually have to be done right away or...
What about the mold? What about the mold?
Oh, the mold is...
Mold's issues in the basement.
Mildew
issues
and mold. In everybody's basement. People don't realize you have to have a dehumidifier running in your basement literally 24/7 all throughout the year on Long Island. You're underground, folks. Most people don't think that. And we learned that the hard way. If you have more than 50% relative humidity in your basement, mold's going to grow. Mm-hmm. People don't even realize that.
And even if it's not that big of a deal with the mold, we're not talking about the black Cilantro mold. We're just talking about regular surface mold. It is going to scare home buyers.
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to scare them.
No, the black mold. Stocky botchas.
Sushi,
savage. But no, that scares.
Stolio.
That scares. But usually it's behind the wall sometimes. People don't even realize it.
But the inspectors will find it.
The inspectors usually will shine the light on it.
When we're buying, it's never an issue with mold, with cracked foundations.
Yeah.
What are some of the other issues that the inspector's going to find? How about aluminum wiring?
Yeah, that's coming up a lot now. It is. There was a point in the 70s where a lot of houses were built with aluminum wiring on Long Island, and it's an issue. It's a fire hazard. There's concerns. There's a lot of other issues they could find. Non-grounding, reverse polarity, certain things that these inspectors they're trained to find it. They'll tear it apart. I mean, they're going to go in. They're going to open up your panel. They're going to look at everything if it's up to code. And a lot of things were done on not to code years ago.
A lot of things weren't on the code. How about termites? Termites is huge out in Long Island.
Huge on Long Island. We've had some houses where amazingly when we open them up, they're riddled.
We've had houses that we could literally pop our finger through the wood.
You could literally kick the wall and the whole wall comes out of the outside. I mean, the sheathing, folks. This is the outside of the house. Like it literally just caved in.
These are houses that if you're selling the traditional way through a realtor with somebody who's buying it with a mortgage, I can tell you 100% with 100% certainty that it's going to be an issue and those people are going to end up backing out.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you're selling that way, just realize if you have a house that's in mint condition, everything is 100% perfect, it was built 5 years ago, you're not going to experience these issues.
You shouldn't be.
We're really speaking to the group right now with this one, with the home inspection, the older homes. And there's a lot of older homes in Long Island.
Oh, my God.
1800s, 1900s, early 1920, 1930, even in 1950 homes.
We get a bunch of those. Yeah, most of the neighborhoods were built 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
That was the big boom out here.
Big time.
The baby boomers, right?
What are some of the other issues on the inspection side they're going to face?
Now, they look for, another thing that comes up a lot is the older homes have a lot of galvanized piping, and it literally just deteriorates it. So that's a lot.
Galvanized piping's big,
That's
huh?
coming up in another one. That's big. I mean, literally, your pipes can just disintegrate at this point. Now we have PVC. Now we have PAX. Certain things it just falls apart. It just becomes a brill and falls apart. So people stay away from that. Big mechanical issues that the inspectors are always looking at. Those are the big ticket items they're looking at. Your boilers, your furnaces, your air handlers, your air condensers. They're expensive ticket items. So when you see those, and you go into a house and you're like, oh, listen, and your house may be only 16, 20 years old, but those have a shelf life of like 15 years, 20 years, and those are big ticket items. Those guys are going to mark it out and say, listen, this is towards the end of its lifespan. You're going to have to get new stuff. And then you look at that and you're like, whoa, it's another 15, 16, 17, 20 grand to fix all this type of stuff. And then
that's it.
Now they want a discount in price.
Right. So hurdles. So hurdle number one, issue number one, if you're a home seller selling the traditional way, realize that you have to overcome the first hurdle, which is the home inspection for the person who's buying their property. When you're selling to somebody like us at Easy Sell Property Solutions, we have a process called the Easy Way Out. It's literally the fastest, easiest, most hassle-free way to sell your property. Why? Because we're not going to come in. We inspect all of our properties, but we're not going to come in and back out of the deal because the property has a cracked foundation. It has a second story which wasn't, with the C of O. It has termite damage. It has mold damage. We're not going to back out. We just want to know what those issues are so we know exactly what we need to do in order to bring it up to 2019 code and standards. So the next issue that we have before the mortgage piece is the property issues. So they go through the inspection, which is just going to show them what the issues are with the property, if it's functional or not. But then you have a whole other piece, which is it legal?
Yeah.
C of Os. Let's talk about that.
CFOs are big, folks. A lot of times people, like Billy just mentioned, they put second stories on houses without a permit. They put extensions on. They put decks, pools, finished basements. I mean, you name it. A lot of people didn't care. They did what they did, and all of a sudden, now I go to sell my property, and a survey comes, and somebody wants to get a mortgage, and they're like, oh, no, this is legal. And you have to legalize it.
And you have to legalize it.
And here's, folks, I mean, most of you already know what the towns are, and I get it. The towns are very, very challenging. When you go to them now and you have to say, listen, I want to legalize something from 10, 20, 30 years ago, it's an issue because they want to bring you up to today's code, not when you built it 20, 30, 40 years ago. So it's a concerning factor. You got to legalize this.
Let's go and touch on this because it is a process. And for the regular homeowner out there who's selling their property, who now is facing the facts that they have whatever, it's a dormant home which wasn't put on the C of O. It has an addition, a converted garage. It has an addition off the back of the home. It has a converted basement in the living space. When you go to sell the traditional way to somebody who's getting a mortgage and that attorney, the attorneys review everything, they're going to want to make sure everything's legal. So now it falls on you, the home seller, to make sure everything inside their property is legal. And what you're going to have to do in certain towns, all the towns, you're going to have to put in for permits. You're going to have to get a survey. You're going to have to get architectural plans depending on what was done to the property. You're talking about expense, harassment, expense, overwhelm. It's just a process that nobody wants to deal with, and they're overwhelmed. When you sell to guys like us at Easy Sell Property Solutions, we don't care.
Yeah.
We know about it. We do our research, but we don't care because this is what we do for a living. So hurdle number 2 is a challenge, especially on Long Island. There's a lot of problems with these properties that we're buying. Every property we buy, I'd say 80% of them are problem properties.
Absolutely.
In one way or another, there's a problem, underlying issue with the home.
But what do? We take the problems off of your shoulders and we take care of them.
Put it right on ours.
Let us take care of the problems. We specialize in this. We'll go and we'll get second stories legalized. We'll get all this stuff done. You do not want to deal with the towns. Trust me, folks. You do not. As you just mentioned, you're talking plans, architects. You're talking inspections, making them rip open walls. I mean, they're insane.
What you're talking, the bottom line, what Wayne is saying is, it's a freaking hassle. It's a hassle and it's an expense.
And we do it for a living.
Hassle and expense. So if you don't want to be if you don't want to have the hassle and you don't want to have that expense and you want to sell your property the fast and easy way, call us at 631-300-EASY. However, if you want to sell your home the traditional way, this show is meant to educate you so you know the hurdles that you're going to have to face and overcome. We'll be right back right after these messages. Welcome back. This is Billy Alvaro, Wayne Hartart. We are Easy Sell Property Solutions. We're located right over here in Holbrook, New York. We're talking today to the people out there who want to sell their home the traditional way. We're giving you some really good value, just telling you exactly what you have to watch out for, what you should expect, and the hurdles that you're going to have to overcome, right? So in the first segment, we spoke about the inspection issues and the property CFO issues. Let's talk now on one of the issues that really kills a lot of deals, right? So picture this for a moment. You have your house in the market, you've cleaned it out, you've listed it with a realtor, you spent the last 2 months marketing it, having open houses, you finally get that buyer that is mortgageable. They come in, they give you a good offer, you go through the inspection process and you pass the first hurdle, like, I got it, thank God, got through the first. The second hurdle with the property issues, you have none, everything is good, you have no CFO issues, no second stories, no problems at all. You're like, man, this is going to be great.
Smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing. We have a closing date set, 60 days down the road. Everything is going smooth. You're packing up. You have another home. You're buying. You're moving to Florida, whatever your situation is. And now what happens? All of a sudden, 15 days before the closing, you get a phone call from your attorney's paralegal. And they say, Mr. Johnson, I have some news for you. The buyer of your property, unfortunately, just got denied for his mortgage. And your mouth drops right open, and you're like, what the hell is going on? This guy was approved. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, his credit scores dropped because his wife went out and he went out, and they bought furniture for the house, and they dropped their credit scores by 40 points. This happens all the freaking time.
Oh, every mortgage.
So here's the deal, guys. When you pass the first two hurdles and you think you're at the home stretch, you have to realize that the mortgage process, and there's another piece to this, the appraisal issue, which we're going to get into, but the mortgage process is critical. I used to own a mortgage bank. I've trained my cousin and the staff, and he runs a tight ship over there on how to underwrite these files to ensure when we're renovating and selling to an end buyer, that we get these buyers approved so we can close. And we still, with everything we know, we still have challenges selling our properties because people, what happens?
They go out and they buy stuff. It's amazing. They'll go out and release a car. I mean, it's every mortgage loan officer's nightmare. They'll go out and buy furniture, like you said. We'll take out a new credit card. Oh, I'm going to be at home. I went to Home Depot and I bought all this stuff. They're going to give me 10% back.
Right. It kills their
credit. I'm going to go over to Ashley Furniture. We got to prepare, honey. We got to get new couches.
Or like, something happens with the loan officer up front, and this is scary because some of these loan officers, not all, there's good and bad in every single industry, but some of these loan officers do not know their freaking ass from their elbow, and they give these BS pre-approvals thinking that you're thinking they're pre-underwritten. It's a pre-approval. They go through the whole underwriting process, and their credit scores didn't drop, but now their debt-to-income ratio is completely off, and they can no longer afford your property.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He may have miscalculated the taxes. He may have said, you qualify for the home thinking the taxes were $6,000, but your taxes the buyer's taxes are really $10,000, which blows out his debt-to-income ratio.
Yeah, that's it.
So the hurdles you have to face when you're dealing with this, it's serious. It's a process. It's a problem. But a lot of realtors don't go over this with the home sellers. They just say, this is the value we're going to get. This is the number we're going to get. They don't tell them the problems. So the home sellers are actually educated enough to realize what the next steps are. The attorneys very rarely go through this with them.
It's amazing
right?
that most realtors do it. Folks, if you're out there, I mean, my entire team, when it comes to me when we're selling the properties, I want to know, we want to scrutinize every single buyer. I want to know what they're doing for a living, what their credit score is, what their DTI is. I want to know where the down payment's coming from. We want to know so many things, and we do that. We have to check that stuff, and we've still been stumped after. Even though I check this stuff.
This is when we're selling properties.
Yeah, when I'm selling properties. So, folks, you're going to want to do the same thing when you're trying to sell the property. You want to know everything about this buyer, because what's going to happen is if you don't know this, like Billy's saying, sometimes people give a fake pre-qual. It's basically a piece of paper saying, hey, listen, Mr. Johnson called me and told me...
It's a piece of toilet paper.
Yeah, basically, you wipe your ass with it. I'm going to be honest with you.
It's a piece of freaking toilet paper.
Basically said, hey, listen, Mr. Johnson called me and told me he makes $100,000 and he has this amount in the bank and his credit score is this. So based off of that, we're going to pre-approve him for that. They saw no documentation.
Not underwriting
they never
a
saw
file,
W-2s.
guys.
They never saw bank statements. And it's amazing. So, we call and I would verify, and I have to. And still, even if we verified all of those hurdles, they could still do what you're saying right now and go out and buy something, screw that up. They could make a mistake. They could do a lot of things in that process because we can't handhold them for the next 60 days. But
now listen, now selling the traditional way, realize that's hurdle number 3. When you're selling to a cash buyer,
we don't care.
We come in, so one of the things that we do to ensure that our cash is available, and this is key. I'm actually not going to say it. I'm not going to say it but we do things to make sure that our money is 100% available. So we have the money when we close. We don't have to go out and get pre-approved. We don't have to get underwritten. When we have an agreement, that money is automatically 100% allocated to your property. So if you want to close in 2 weeks, 2 months, or 9 months down the road, you're not going to have to worry that we're not going to have the money to fund this deal. The money's always going to be there in a side account. As soon as we agree to the terms and the price and it's signed, it automatically gets allocated into a separate account specifically for your home. So that's challenge number 3. We only have 5 minutes left, so I want to burn through these.
A lot of challenges.
A lot of challenges. So you're getting through these humps, right? Let's just say now that everything is still smooth. Your mortgage commitment comes in. The mortgage commitment comes in. There's a whole other piece to this. You have your appraisal piece and you have your title piece. Let's talk about the valuation. And let's talk specifically on the FHA side on what happens. So this is a challenge, right? This is a challenge. The way we are right now, we're no longer in a market where we're going up like this. It used to be, a couple of years ago, the values are going up so much that if you had an offer today, it was guaranteed that the appraisal was going to come in at the number you needed. Yeah. However, now, the environment that we're in, you get an offer on the property. You accept it. It's a high offer. You're like, I love my realtor. This is
feeling it.
You're feeling it. Everything is good.
You're on that high.
And then what happens? The appraisal comes in. It comes in $25,000 low.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
We just had one come in $40-something thousand low.
$40,000
in the lower income areas
low.
You're finding, and folks, on top of that, what's even coming worse is now a lot of the buyers are trying to get sales concessions on top of that. But let's just touch on the FHA. If the FHA comes in light, you're stuck with that appraisal. It's stuck with the house.
For 6 months, I think, or 90 days, or 6 months. I can't remember the number.
So it's seasoned, and now you're in trouble. So now if you want to sell to somebody else, you got to then make sure you go conventional or a different type of loan because it's going to be stuck with that particular property. So the FHA loans are challenging now, and everybody's taking them out. I get it. You know, there's an incentive for people to go get them.
To clear, the challenge with the FHA is that appraisal number sticks with the property for either 3 or 6 months. I'm not 100% positive, but even if it's a conventional or a non-conventional loan, not FHA, and the appraisal comes in low, you're thinking everything is good, but now you have to take a major hit on the sale of that property. You're either going to have to go find another buyer that's going to use a different appraisal company, or you're going to have to take, in this case, we just had one come in $40,000 light. That's a lot of money. Yep, think about this. We have 3.5 minutes. I want to burn through now. So we have the inspection issues. When you're selling to a cash buyer, there are no inspection issues. You have the mortgage issues. When you sell to a cash buyer, there are no mortgage issues. You have your property issues, which is C of O's and extensions. When you're selling to a cash buyer, there are none. When you're selling traditionally, you have to make sure you have the availability to jump through these hoops. The appraisal issues we just spoke about. Let's talk lastly now about title issues. This is a deal killer all the way around, and I'm gonna lump in title with survey. I'm going to put those two together. So let's have an understanding of what this means. So you could be clear with everything. Your mortgage is clear. Appraisal came in. Inspections went good. Now you have the title company as the legal side, and they're saying, hey, there's judgments attached to the property. There's a mortgage that we can't locate, which is attached to the property, which is an old mortgage from your from 20 years ago, 18 years ago. There's a survey that was done and your property lines are off by 10 foot. All of these issues that do come up, especially on Long Island and New Jersey, especially with the survey piece, are issues that are going to cause your property to either get not closed or you're going to take a major haircut off the sale of your house. Yeah. What do you have to say about that?
Happening all day, folks. So out of possessions are huge when it comes to the property line. So we know that comes up all the time. People are fighting over, 10, 15, 20 feet. Who's moving fences? Who's not going to move fences? Who wants affidavit signed? And then you got neighbors fighting for weeks and months at a time because nobody will agree to move anything. So, you could just get stuck on something so simple like that. A survey comes out and he says, listen, your fences are off 10, 15, 20 feet. That's a simple one. That's a simple one.
But sometimes the attorneys make it more complicated than what it needs to be.
It'll go on weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks that you'll fight over that one, Yep. And then obviously title issues, judgments. That's huge.
Judgments.
You don't realize there's liens and judgments on your property that you didn't even realize were there, and most people will just get scared and walk right away.
So here's the thing with Easy Sell Property Solutions, right? Because I owned a national title company, because I owned a national mortgage bank, every single one of these issues, and because we've been doing real estate investments for the last 10 years, every single one of these issues we've been speaking about today, when you're selling traditionally, I'm telling you, when you sell to Easy Sell Property Solutions, the easy way out, these issues, they're there, but they're not your issues, they're our issues. Yeah. We take the issues off your shoulders, we put them on ours, and we cut through the freaking problem. So if you have a property that you want to sell, you want to get a fair offer. Understand, I'm using the word fair because we give very fair offers for the properties. Give us a call, 631-400-EASY. I hope that this session today was educational for somebody out there that's looking to sell, that they got the knowledge now, and they're probably going to go back and start educating their realtor and their attorney on the 5 potential deal killers and hurdles that they're going to have to jump over, right?
They are. This is what we do. It's always nice to give back and educate everybody. So if you have questions, folks, give us a call, 631-400-EASY.
What's the website, cuz?
EasySell411.com.
Love this show. Love you, cuz. I love this guy behind the thing over here.
He's on the day he loves everybody.
I'm on the day of love today. Everybody gets love. Maddie behind the camera over there, you handsome bastard.
What's up, buddy?
All right, guys. We'll be back next week.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.